So today what I'm going to be looking at is something a little bit different that we have designed at Inscape House School, and it's called our Neurodivergent curriculum. And it frames learning not just as, getting information, but as a real journey of self-discovery, individual self-discovery. Our philosophy is around looking inward. So it's not about memorising dates or formulas. It's about building this deep personal understanding of who you are, your authentic self. So you might be asking, what does this actually look like in a classroom? Well, it means stepping away from the usual subjects to focus on something way more fundamental. Building self-awareness and developing the skills needed to navigate the world we live in with confidence. And this is the crucial part. The goal here isn't to just fill a bucket of facts, it's about lighting a fire in the young person. The curriculum is designed to build up confidence and a real strong sense of self and identity, empowering neurodivergent learners to truly embrace their own strengths and experiences. Okay, so one of the most powerful ways they can do this, and this is important, is through language. It's all about making a shift, moving away from negative language to more neuro-affirming language. Now this slide is fascinating because you can see how a simple change in words completely changes the feeling of everything. So instead of saying someone is fixed, which sounds a bit negative, right? You say they're passionate. Instead of struggles with change, it becomes prefers routine and structure. This isn't just being politically correct, it totally reframes the perspective from one of difficulties to one of strengths and preferences. And that's exactly why this matters so much. Using neuro-affirming language isn't just a side note, it's a core strategy. It's about building a positive autistic identity from the ground up so that students can feel a sense of self-acceptance and real pride in who they are. So how is all this organised and how can we structure it? Well, the entire framework is built on what we call the 10 pillars, and they are designed to cover pretty much every aspect of life. And here they are. Just take a second to have a look at this list. It covers every aspect of a young person's development, from awareness to health and well-being, to daily living skills, and then right up to career opportunities and employment. This is a full 360-degree approach to preparing a young person for life that's fulfilling and independent. Let's have a look at advocacy and rights. This is a perfect example of how the curriculum takes a big idea and turns it into really practical skills. So the key concept is knowing how to express your needs. How do we teach it? Well, through active ingredients like role-playing, mock debates, and the desired outcome is crystal clear. Students who are confident enough to stand up for themselves and their rights. So we've seen what the curriculum is, but what about the how? How do we teach this curriculum to our young people? It's all about a process that's individualised and adaptive. It's an organic process, and this is the absolute bedrock of the approach. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Why? Because every single student's experience, their strengths, their challenges, is completely and totally their own. So where do we start? Well, we start with the student, and we start with self-reflection. From that point, the teacher is able to adapt how they communicate, how they articulate, where they start the lesson. We use passionate interests to make learning something that's actually engaging and has real meaning. And we personalise the approach. So what you're seeing in this slide is a model of something called cognitive load, which is basically just how much stuff our brain can handle at one time. Our curriculum is built to minimise what's called extraneous load. Think of that as like background noise or distractions. By cutting that down, it frees up mental space to focus on the rest of our load in our brain, which is the good stuff. That's the deep thinking that leads to real understanding. And all of this leads to a really important concept, which is metacognition. It sounds like a big fancy word, but the idea is actually pretty simple. A huge goal here is to help our students to understand their own learning process, to help them understand who they are and what makes them tick, which is probably the ultimate tool for becoming an independent, lifelong learner. So when you put all these pieces together, what's the end result? Well, let's talk about the long-term impact, because it's pretty transformational when you combine that positive identity with personalised learning and all those practical life skills. Students don't just walk away with facts, they gain a much richer understanding of themselves. They develop communication skills that really work for them, and they become more confident in managing their own lives and advocating for what they need. And that's really the ultimate goal, isn't it? Success isn't just measured by test scores, it's measured by how well the curriculum helps each student become a more confident, self-aware and authentic version of themselves, totally ready to navigate the world on their own terms with a greater understanding of who they are. So it kind of leaves us with the one big fascinating question to think about. I mean, this model was designed for neurodivergent learners at Inscape School. But that core idea, it feels universal. What if every kind of education for every single student didn't start with external facts, but with the journey of understanding yourself first? Just something to think about.